Psychology is a massive aspect of sports science. Being able to enhance your mental capabilities and your cognitive performance is an undervalued section of sports science, but one that's really key as well.
Understanding what motivates an athlete is absolutely essential in really achieving any sort of performance outcome. It is essential that we understand why they do what they do and ultimately what they want to achieve through that.
You do profiling of players, meaning you're trying to find out the players' strengths and also the opportunities where you can improve players. And some players will actually respond to maybe some quite aggressive almost language and some encouragement, so yes. Other players may respond far better, put your arm around and a pat on the shoulder, but all you're trying to do always is create the best performance.
For me, motivation's never been a hard thing. I've loved gymnastics and I've always wanted to succeed. I've always had a long-term goal with short-term goals set. So obviously leading into the Olympics, it was that Olympic medal. That was what got me out of bed every morning, remembering the disappointment from Beijing where I finished fourth, and I just thought, I can't do that again. I want to come home with an Olympic medal.
To be a winner, especially in wheelchair racing, you have to take ownership of that track. This is my track and no one else is going to beat me. You have to be quite an attitude on the track. To win, you need to be strong and demanding.
Gymnastics is 90% mental. If you stand at the start of that vault run or stand next to the beam and say, I can't do it, the likelihood is you won't or you'll get injured. You have to stand there with a positive attitude, knowing you are going to succeed or you are going to attempt it with 100% confidence.
In order for anyone to stay motivated, we need to achieve things along the way. If 13, 14-year-olds now are sort of rolling out of bed in the morning thinking, I want to win a World Cup in 20 years' time, that's a dream that's far away. It's a great long-term aspiration, but realistically, how is it going to be achieved? And short-term goal setting starts to bridge that gap to the long-term goal.
You have to be positive in your ability and mental strength going into London. I'm taking that as an example because that was probably my strongest mental side I've ever been. We trained to get off to a winning start, and I knew if I won on the first race in that stadium, I can be more relaxed going into my other races because I've achieved what I wanted to achieve, was one gold medal.
One of the biggest things is trying to predict what's going to happen during a game. All this is about the game of tennis, the game of rugby, swimming, about the actual event. And it's how you're thinking during that game. You do something in a game we've never thought about before, this suddenly hits you. There is a big chance, we have all these horrible words in sport, when you freeze, choke, bottle, that happens mainly because people come across and they've never thought about before.
Addressing the difference between competition pressures and training pressures are high priority in any elite sporting environment, whether that's an individual or team sport. And often the best programs have training programs and sessions that simulate as close as possible the pressures that can be expected in competition.
The pressure prior to a competition is always quite intense. I mean, obviously you've got the media pressure, you've got family pressure, coach pressure, but for me the biggest pressure comes from myself. I've done all the hard work with my coach, I've been in the gym, I've done the hours, and you've got a dream to do well at that competition.
Your ability to be able to relax and be calm under pressure and be able to perform optimally and really carry out the aims that you've trained for is really important actually.
In order to deal with setbacks and failure and loss in a team environment, the key thing is consistency and constant review of processes. Often, within sport, we get very emotionally driven. It's a winner-takes-all mentality every week. But the best systems, the best players, the best coaches have a mentality of consistency, of delivery, and are process-focused rather than outcome-focused via win-loss ratio.
Every individual deals with setbacks and failures in a different way. I've always been one person to put it behind me. For the first couple of hours after a competition, it's probably best not to talk to me. I get quite upset about it. You've put all your hard work and effort and you haven't achieved your goal. So after that 2 hours, I forget it. I go back in the gym, I work harder for the next competition I've got.
Sometimes it's good to lose. Sometimes it drives you on that little bit more to push yourself in training, you know, and not be too confident in yourself. So I sometimes I like a failure, so it drives me on in training sessions leading up to another race, so I don't lose again.